great to actually get the opening ceremony out there to probably several hundreds of millions of people, and to really get going with some more sport today, and to really get going in earnest. Just to remind you that in some of the venues we've already had softball, football, shooting, rowing, archery and equestrian underway. And just one figure to give you, which I think is quite interesting, from Japan, for Wednesday and Thursday, 69.4 million Japanese have watched some part of the sport, so that's more than half of the population of the country. And the games only really properly get underway today, so 69.4 million is not bad. 11 medal events today, and I should just tell you that we have some members of the refugee Olympic team taking part in shooting, badminton, taekwondo and butterfly swimming. Yusra is in the swimming this evening, and obviously if you want more details of those, where those are happening and who it is, happy to give those to you. Without further ado, let me pass to my counterpart, Masa Takaya, who will take you through a few other figures, and then obviously we have Christophe Duby, Executive Director for the Olympic Games, who I'm sure will have a few words to say. So, Masa, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. Really happy to be here with you today. As already Mark covered the topics on sports, so just quickly running through. Among those sports taking place today, we do have some of the hopeful Japanese athletes competing our favorite events, so you may be interested in that. Also, just wanted to look into your favorite topic on COVID. Wanted to let you know the weather forecast we have today. The temperature seems to be remaining very high, so we are expecting to have either 33 or 34 degrees in Celsius in the most of the venues. Among those venues, the competition venues in Bay zones, we might have 31 degrees Celsius or even higher in WBGT, which is considered a danger levels. So we just wanted to request everyone in the room, trying to convey the messages that for those participants and also workforces. Obviously, we are informing our colleagues that they have to be ready, but we do have such a focus today. Looking into the latest COVID cases, first of all, let me look into the number of testing. The total number of testing at the airport is now already more than 34,000, as you have in your hand. The latest screening test number was more than 29,000 per day, which was recorded 22nd of July. The accumulated total number was up to 2 days ago, 137,000, and then among those, 33 positive cases were recorded, which means the confirmed positivity rate was 0.02%, which is remaining still low. That's pretty much what I wanted to say at the very beginning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Masa. Let me now turn over to Christophe Duby. Obviously, opening ceremony last night, but the most important thing also is that the games are really underway. I know that that's what everyone, you included, has been waiting for. So if you want to give us some of your thoughts, and then obviously we'll go to questions and answers here, and some, I think, online as well. So, Christophe.
Un moment d'espoir. This is Rachel, how you had it on the first page. which means a moment of hope. And this is really how it felt yesterday evening. You know, I'm going to share this with you, and I'm no shy to say it. I had a lot of tears in my eyes yesterday, and for different reasons. One of them is how much went into these games. How much went in? It's really hard to plan for the games. It's really hard to deliver the games. It's a formidable journey, let's be very clear. And any city, any region that has this opportunity, it will be life transforming. That we all agree. But to plan is one thing, to replan is another. It had not been done. And all of us, you were involved as well, we've done it. We've replanned, and yesterday was the start of what is coming now, the monumental moments of sport we're going to have. But also, I was really moved by the performance yesterday, because it's always hard to find the right balance. You know, at some point, the ceremony is sanctioning the sign of the times. You know, it's always a reflection of a given context. It's always unique, but it's a given context at a given point in time. And yesterday, my feeling was that it was really powerful, yet refined. There was a lot of gravitas, but it was also very punchy. You had those moments where you take a step back and reflect, and you have moments where you go straight into positive energy. And to do that, in the context we're all in, I think was a massive performance. I can say that at the very start it was quite something, and I was next to my greatest of colleagues, Pierre Ducret, who comes here regularly as well. He was turning his back to me, and I was turning my back to him, because I know he also had the tears, and not that we would be too shy, but still, we were like, and it happened throughout the ceremony. So, you know what? It was a great moment, and now we start. As you said, 11 sports today, and it's all about the actions. The venues look great. You've heard the athletes, they feel it's absolutely fantastic, the conditions that have been created. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to have the best possible images that I can guarantee, and you're going to report all of this. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Christoph. I knew why I brought you along. You put it a lot better than I could have done, so thank you. Right, let's have some questions then on obviously any topic you wish. Let's go to a gentleman there first, and then Liam, if you would go to two different microphones, please. And can you keep your masks on when you're asking questions? Thank you very much.
日本語でお願いします。東京新聞の原田と申します。
From Tokyo Shimbun. I have a question to Takaya-san and Dubi-san. Two different questions to Takaya-san. At the opening ceremony regarding the creatives and also the performers, as some media has reported, the artist from Africa living in Japan was offered to participate in the opening ceremony, but this was mentioned by the artist social media, and in May, it said that the JOC abruptly cancelled the opportunity. The reason mentioned was that it did not make sense for an African person to participate in the opening ceremony for Tokyo 2020. Can you clarify the facts behind this? Yes, thank you for that question.
はい、すみません、ありがとうございます。その方のですね、 ご主張に関しては、
regarding the
全く
artist
事実
participation
と異なっております。
and also
多
his
数のです
claims,
ね、ミュージシャン
it
の
is
方が参加
not
する
correct.
音楽パートというものを
There was a
企
music
画
part
しておりました。
which we were planning to
し
have
かし
many
その
artists
感染症対
participate.
策
But due to countermeasures against COVID-19 and also due to constraint of the budget, we gave up on that idea. So that the music section as a whole was changed. And that is why this particular musician, including the others who were scheduled to participate in the music section, we had to tell them that we cannot ask them to participate in this music session.
And I would just add more generally that obviously I think the Olympic movement, our values are very clear, and they were very clearly stated last night, both literally in the words of the President, solidarity, non-discrimination and so on. It was very clear. And if you see 205 National Olympic countries from right around the world, National Olympic committees from right around the world, and the Refugee Olympic team marching, I think our message is very, very clear. So you had another question, I think.
デビさんにお願いします。昨日の開会式
So
の
this
入
is a
場行
question
進
to
の
Mr.
後
Doobie.
に、いくつか
After
の
the
国の
march
選手
of
た
the
ちが
opening
マスクを
ceremony,
外して
a
談
few
笑
of
する
the
姿がありま
athletes
した。
were having
こちらに
conversation
関しては
without
デビ
wearing
さ
their
ん
masks.
良くないと思います
So
か。
Mr. Doobie,
それともまあ
do you find it
ああいう
inappropriate?
場だから多
Or
めに見た方が
do you think it
いい
was
と
okay because it was a special event, an opening ceremony?
なかなかそのお願いするだけでは
I
マス
think
クは
asking
の着用っていうの
the
は徹底
athletes
されないと
to
思います
follow the protocol
何
to
ら
wear
か
the
の厳しい
masks
措置を今後設ける
may not be enough.
違反した人に対して厳しい
For
措
those
置を
who
設け
violate,
るおつもりはありますで
do
し
you
ょ
have
うか。
intention
お願いします
to have some severe punishment?
No, the intention is the following. And I said it several times already. Every time we start a meeting, every time we see someone without wearing a mask, and that happens a little bit everywhere, it's our duty, all of us, to say, reminder, mask please. This is very important, very important. And in most of the cases, people do simply forget. I've been here in Japan now almost 2 months, and for me, if I don't have it, I feel naked. For others that will be joining, including in the coming days, this is a habit to take. And it's really important that we go on message constantly to remind people how important it is to follow the physical distanciation, to use the gels, to use the mask. And this is something that was done yesterday. This was repeated in the chef de missions, and we will continue to repeat this. Now, if you have blatant behaviors that are absolutely unbearable, we will definitely take action, but it starts with informing and repeating this information so that we don't see too many people without masks. That's absolutely clear.
Thank you, Christophe. Liam.
Thank you. Liam Morgan from Inside the Games. Christoph, you will have been aware that the Czech NOC has launched an investigation into its cases. Are the Czech team being placed any under special measures because of their number of cases in their team? And one for Masa. One of the Japanese government's advisors on COVID-19 has been very critical of the organising committee this morning. He said, and I quote, "I don't think the organising committee has been doing their best to minimise the risk of COVID-19, and there are several holes in the playbooks." I was wondering what the organising committee's response to that was. Thank you.
Liam, before I respond, did you get the former question you asked, or the answer to the former question you asked about the village? Yes. Now I'm reassured. Okay. Well, you know, the contact tracing is a procedure that is in place now. And if you're a close contact, and this was the case for a number of the Czech team, you have the protocols that are in place, and this is what is being followed. Now, I do understand there is an inquiry from the National Olympic Committee, and it's the right thing to do. This is what also we were recommending in the playbooks, which is if something happens at any given point in time, it is very fitting for the organization that is seeing that behavior to do an inquiry and take the appropriate measures if they feel that a number of the actions were inappropriate. So this is ongoing. Let's see what is coming out, and we will follow with the Czech NOC directly. But as far as the cases are being concerned, all the precaution measures that were foreseen are being extremely well handled by the organizing committee.
Massa?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't been able to exactly catch that remarks made by the expert, but what I can tell you is that the organizing committee has been working closely together with all the authorities, of course, the national government and Tokyo Metropolitan government, to implement our, robust countermeasures on COVID-19, and in that respect. We have been stressing that it's always a response to any positive case is very important, and we consider that we have been able to thoroughly implement these countermeasures on any cases. I think we have explained multiple times here, if there is any positive cases, these concerned personnel have to be isolated to the isolation facilities, and we have done that. And in the meantime, we do move very, very quickly to identify the cross-contact cases, and those cases have been clearly identified, and in some cases, we even request to those cross-contact cases to stay in their room even before the confirmation of the cross-contact cases, so that we are able to contain these cases. Those concerned NOCs have been thoroughly very cooperative and thoroughly following our requests, and then to do so, as we have already observed, let's say the South African soccer team cases, even though, although they faced with a situation that quite a multiple number of players were confirmed as a cross-contact cases, they were able to train, and then they were able to compete in the first preliminary round, and we will obviously keep conducting the same approach to any future positive cases or any cross-contact cases. So I think I spoke too much, but what I wanted to emphasize is that it's very important to respond very quickly, thoroughly, according to the guidance we already set, working closely with all the relevant authorities, including the national government and Tokyo Metropolitan government. And I also want to emphasize that all the measures have been fully, engaged with the precious, the invaluable input from the experts in this field. So we are confident that we will keep delivering the safe and secure games.
Thank you, Massa. And I would just add, obviously you saw the IOC session, and you saw Director General Tedros from the World Health Organization, who not only praised us, but also explained, as you will have seen his quotes, that we've been working very closely with not just the World Health Authority, but many, many of the leading scientific experts. So the playbooks are based on the advice, working with not just the World Health Organization, but many other of the leading scientists and experts in the field. So I think that's quite a comprehensive answer. Thank you, Massa. Yeah.
Hi, Rachel Axon from USA Today. A couple questions from Massa. Some female athletes have complained about the restrictions placed on them to bring their small children or infants with them per the policy that Tokyo organizers put in place. So my question, first one, what were those restrictions put on those infants and their caretakers in terms of contact with the athletes, especially regarding accommodations? And then, by my count, there's only a handful of athletes that this would have applied to. What was the risk assessment that Tokyo organizers made regarding, having a few additional people, immobile babies included, versus the harm to the athletes by having those restrictions in place? Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, sorry, I am not fully aware of the this particular request or a comment by the athlete from the US. What I can tell you is that obviously there has been a long discussion how we would be able to accommodate such the special requests from those who would need to bring their children to Japan. Obviously, strict restrictions are being in place in terms of traveling from other countries to Japan. So we were thoroughly discussing how we'll be able to have a good balance between the delivering the safe and secure environment and meeting those special requests from the NOCs. At the end of the day, we do have a certain guidance to enable those athletes to travel with their children to Japan. I don't have the particular information how they are able to access to their children, but given the situation, they just cannot access inside the Olympic Village. This is for the sake of securing the safest possible environment within the Olympic Village. But those children and caretakers have to stay their respective hotels nearby, or I don't know exact locations, but trying to establish a point that they can meet when those athletes are out of competition. So that's the answers I can give you for now. Anything?
I can just add to that, and maybe Christoph wants to chip in, but obviously very difficult regulations and rules that have to be in place because of the health issues, and we're doing everything we can to encourage those with young children to take part. But I can say in specific cases, I don't know which case you're talking about, the exceptions were made, and the regulations were worked out to allow nursing mothers to come and take part, but I don't know.
It would be honestly a terrible choice to make between having your baby with you or staying home. As soon as we heard about this, we said, hey, let's find solutions. Because there was a rule for everyone. You had to have the activity plan. You had to have all of this. Okay, and we all went through this procedure where none of us are coming with anyone. So that was the rule, and that was the blanket rule. But as soon as you know that there is a case like this one, and as soon as it came to our desk, it was, let's find solution. Of course. You don't want an athlete who's been training for the last years and having a baby most recently to have to make the choice. So we found solution, and I'm not sure they had an activity plan, but I'm sure they do now, because they have to be present, of course.
Infant activity plan. Carlos, yes, please, from Reuters.
Question for Mark. There was a letter written by a congressional commission to the IOC regarding Beijing 2022 and asking for a delay of the Games. It was supposed to be the second letter they've sent. Have you received that, and have you a comment on that letter? Thank you.
Yeah, if it's the letter I believe we're talking about, yes, we have received a letter. We get many kind of such requests. The Games for us are an important signal of non-discrimination, of rights and so on, and we are determined to make sure the rights are respected in the context of the Games. That's our role. The role for governments and other international organisations is to deal with wider issues, and obviously we'd encourage them to do that, but we will of course be responding to such a letter in the near future, I imagine.
NHK です。高谷さんに質問です。
Okay, a question for Takaya-san.
10番で選手の要請出てますけども、
So
直近で
you've seen shown
ボートの競技団体とドイツの
with the rowing for Netherlands and Germany's team, you said number 120 is a positive test, and are they going to be able to participate in the competition? And in the Olympic Village, the PCR kit tools are not enough in number, and I've heard that you're going to take some measures for that. Do you have enough PCR kits at the village? What are going to be your measures going forward to make sure that you fulfill the number of required PCR kits? Regarding number 120, that person that is tested as positive, to the NOC, we have made contact, but we have not received any response. So that's why we were not able to disclose the name of the NOC. As we have been communicating to you, unless the NOC gives us a consent to disclose the specific names, we will not share the information. We have not received the response from the NOC yet, so that's why we are not unveiling the individual data. And regarding the number of PCR testing kits, yesterday, I think many of you have heard the comments that early this week from multiple NOCs, they have been claiming that they did not receive the PCR testing kits. So we have acted very swiftly, and we have supplied the PCR kits and we have received the samples. So for the multiple NOCs which made the request, thanks to the collaboration, the following day we were able to do 2 tests per day. So one in early morning and one at late night, so that we will maintain the equality between the different NOCs and conduct the PCR tests according to the playbook. We will have a huge number of PCR kits that will be available. So the number that will be needed during their stay will be provided to the Olympic Village.
One here, and then we'll probably take a couple of questions from the chat.
Good morning, Rob Moore from The Sun in the UK. A question for Christophe and Massa, please. It's been reported locally there's a tropical storm heading for Japan in the next 48 hours. What are the contingency plans if it does indeed hit the Tokyo Olympic venues? And how prepared and flexible are you to shuffle around a very tight schedule if indeed the weather intervenes? Thank you.
Yes, so actually there is already one competition schedule change has been made and already released to media concerning the event for the sports of rowing. We were supposed to have a competition schedule on Monday 26th, but due to the expected weather forecast, we already modified the competition schedules, and then those events scheduled for the Monday 26th already integrated to either today or tomorrow 24th and 25th. Further details will be already released, so I want you to look into that. Already the revamped competition schedules have been updated to the MyInfo.
Rescheduling is a fun activity for Christophe.
For you too, no? For me, the first games were here in Nagano back in 98. And talking about rescheduling, this was quite an exercise in the very beginning of these games. And yeah, competition schedule change committee is something that is standard across games. And for each of the summer and the winter editions, you have to have a very close look at the schedule, see when you can resume competition, those that can be affected or not. And this is why we had, and you were probably present in the room, but the greatest presentation from the Japanese Meteorological Agency and their capabilities to foresee in advance what is coming up. This is a very big plus. So we're fortunate to have such technology made available. And then we take it a few days before, as you said, Massa, for the rowing. It was anticipated, which is a good thing because it's not that day or that minute that you have to make the call. So this is a very comfortable environment to operate in.
Thank you, Christophe. Let's take a couple of questions from people who can't be here today.
Yes, the first one was from Radio France, but already covered concerning the musician. The second one was from New York Times and already covered concerning the competition schedule, so wanted to skip that. And let me look into the question from Wakako, the Yomiuri Shimbun. 2 questions to Christophe. Could you elaborate the element of Tokyo's formidable journey? What aspects, and possibly with some episodes, examples? No spectators at Aomi Urban Sports Park as skateboarding commenced today. Your thoughts and regret?
Sorry, what was that on skateboarding?
Then at the end of the day, this is taking place without spectators. So
is taking place for the first time.
Yeah, without then thoughts and regret.
Yeah, for me, Tokyo journey. I'm going back to the very powerful messages from the IOC president yesterday. That notion of solidarity is something that really struck me. It was always an effort for the whole Japan, and it was very clear from the beginning that it would be the best of Japan to be involved in these games. And it cannot be more true than when you have an event like we had to decide last year, which is the postponement. This is where solidarity comes all together. And what I said before, it's no small feat to organize the games. Now to do it in these circumstances is even much harder. So solidarity is the thing that I would say about the features for these games. And the other thing is most definitely innovation. And part of the second question is answer or is weaved into the first one. The second key characteristics of these games is innovation. And indeed, we start with skateboard. We'll have surfing as well, and I get that as a result of what is coming up in terms of inclement weather. We'll have some big swell also coming in. So we have some of these new sports on the agenda for the next few days. And that mix of deep feeling of solidarity on one side to do what we have done all together, but at the same time, this innovation and what we're going to show to the world and for the first time in Tokyo is a fantastic feeling.
Thank you, Christophe. I think we're going to bring Kit along and talk about new sports later in the week as well, because there are some very exciting ones. Yeah, let's go right over here. Sorry if I've been ignoring you. 2, 3, in fact, let's have those 3. Sorry.
Hi, Tracy Holmes from the ABC in Australia. I'm sorry if you've already answered this, I was a little bit late when I arrived, but can I get some detail, please, about the selection of Naomi Osaka, when she was chosen, why she was chosen, what are the messages behind her selection? Thank you.
Yes. Yesterday the executive producer already commented that, but what I can tell you is that there has been obviously a long discussion who should be the one to do the final torchbearer. As you may be already aware, the unity in diversity is a key concept of the Tokyo 2020. In that respect, the torchbearers who are relaying inside the stadium was carefully discussed and selected during these discussions. And at the end of the day, I don't know exactly when it was decided, but at the end of the day, the organizing committee decided that Naomi, she is the one to do the final torchbearer. And this morning I have learned that the entire tennis world is also proud of having her as the final torchbearer. That's something we are pleased to hear. Hopefully, we are able to convey the new images of the Tokyo 2020 and this country.
Thank you, Masa. There was another couple over here, I think, and yeah, okay, sir. Yeah, that's fine. If not, then see, yeah, happy for you to step up as well. Yes, sir.
日本語でお聞きします。共同通信の長谷川です。
This is Hasegawa from 共同通信。
先ほど検査の数が公表されたと思うんですが、
I think you mentioned the number of tests. How about
この数字
the
は
submission
大体
rate
ど
of
れ
the
ぐらいなのか、
samples?
100% なの
Is
か
it
どうかという
100%?
のをお伺いしたいと思います。
That is my question.
全体の検査数を見ると、
Looking at the total number of
過去に組
tests.
織委員会は1日最大5、6
In the
万件
past,
の
I
検
think the
査が必要にな
organization
るケース
committee
があるというふう
said
に聞いたと思うんですが、
that there might be 5
今
to
出ている数字を見ると2
60,000
万件台というふうになってい
tests
る。もちろ
required
んそ
per
の
day. I think still between 20 to
検査
30,000
対象者の
tests.
人数って変動するものだと
And
思うん
I'm
ですが、
sure the number of
例え
people
ば検体
subject
が
to
提
the
出さ
test
れてい
will
ないケー
change.
ス
But
とい
are
うの
there any
も生じ
cases
ている
where
ん
the
でしょうか。
samples are not submitted?
また検体が提出されていないのに、試合に出ているというような
Are
ケー
there
スは
any
ないんで
cases
しょうか。
where the athletes are participating in the competition without submitting the
はい、
samples?
ありがとうございます。
Yes, thank you for the
ま
question.
ずその検査
First,
の提出率ですね。
regarding the submission
それ
rate
に
of
関
the
するデ
tests,
ータを持ち合わせていません。
I don't have the data on hand.
どういった形でお伝えがすることができるのか。
So I will try to figure out how best I can communicate that to you. So let me bring it back and respond later. And I think regarding the test, there were some doubts over what was happening in the Olympic Village. But regarding the Olympic Village situation, we have already communicated that thanks to the cooperations of multiple NLCs, the number of tests required stipulated in the playbook has been conducted. So there were a few logistics glitch, which caused some concerns. But today, a huge number of kits will be delivered. So definitely the tests will be conducted.
Thank you very, very much, Masa. Clearly, it is the most tested community probably anywhere in the world. But Christoph would give us maybe a bit more detail, or you?
I think Masa's conclusion is crucial. The athletes are all being tested. When they enter the field of play, they have been tested. The protocols are being followed. Athletes are tested. The officials in the village are being tested.
Great. I think you wanted to ask a question down here. I'm sorry, by the way, it's very difficult with the lights and with the masks to actually see a lot of you who I do know, so I'm trying to avoid making mistakes. Yes, please.
Bonjour, thank you. Rachel Preti from l'équipe. Can you tell us what was the discussion yesterday between President Barr and French President Emmanuel Macron? Thank you.
No, I mean, obviously following all the usual protocols, we wouldn't give you any details of a discussion that they decided not to talk about, but obviously it's no secret to know that the next Olympic Games after this one will be in Paris, so I think you can probably make some kind of guess, I would think. Actually, I would ask for a new mask, because this one has unfortunately... there we are. Thank you very much. I have one. That's good. Excuse me a second. Yep, so we've got 3 around here, so let's take you one at a time. That would be good. Thank you very much.
Good morning, guys. Brendan Shakes from Network 10 Australia. Just wanted to get some clarification. You said about taking action for people not wearing masks. There was a couple of athletes last night during the opening ceremony that paraded without any. Will there be any action or ramifications for those athletes? Thank you.
I think we answered that one, but we can answer it again, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't think we've got anything to add to the answer we gave earlier. It was quite a quite detailed. If you want, come and have a chat with us afterwards, but I think it was pretty detailed answer. Yes, sir. Next question.
朝日新聞の斉藤です。高谷さんにお願いします。
Saito from Asahi Shimbun to Takaya-san. This is a reference to the typhoon. The path of the typhoon has attracted attention. What will be the impact on outdoor activities and also what measures will be taken? And how do you, of course, wish to protect, of course, the safety of the volunteers as well, not just the athletes, but also the volunteers as well? If you could offer some details, that would be very helpful.
この台風の接近というのは、
The onset of the typhoon,
いわゆるクライシスレスポンスのエクササイズの中でも、
of course, has been discussed in crisis management.
地震とかと違って数日前から
Unlike an earthquake,
進路予想などもあるので、
we are able to predict the path of the typhoon, and therefore we will be able to prepare in advance.
でまさにそのボート競技の場合は、
especially when it comes to rowing,
予防策的に
as a preventive measure, we have decided to change the schedule for the event. The event schedule change is not a rare event, and for the athletes involved, naturally we understand that it is going to be a substantial burden. However, this is a case that has been experienced in past Olympic Games as well. But of course, we are looking very closely at the path of the typhoon to ensure that there will be decisions made as a preventive measure. And should a typhoon make landfall, and there could be damages, both human and also physical damages. When that should be the case, we will take a responsible measure. As to what will happen in the days ahead, of course, we are not able to accurately predict, and therefore at this point in time, I will not be able to inform you as to what precisely will be taken, but we will take a close watch over the development of the typhoon and the pathway as well. You also mentioned the safety of the volunteers, and naturally, under circumstances when the event cannot be, of course, held, then we will inform the volunteers in advance, and not just limited to the volunteers. For all the stakeholders who are involved in the event, communication will be closely conducted so as to inform them as to what specifically will be taken by way of action on the day of the event by the designated chain of command, or communication channels rather, and to ensure that the event will be held in a safe manner.
Okay, let's take a couple more questions. So gentlemen here, and then anyone with another final question? Yeah, and then gentlemen there, that'll be it. So yes, please. Yes, please, sir.
Hiroshi Hiyama from AFP. Thank you very much. First question to Mr. Takaya, and then second one to both sides. 一部報道で森喜朗さんについて名誉顧問もしくは何らかのそのアドバイザーというような形で、ご就任いただくという報道出てますけれども、一部それを否定するような報道も見ておりますけれども、改めてこの今どういったディスカッションがあってどういったお考えがあるのか伺いたいと思います。
On this,
maybe to both IOC and 2020. Outside of the venue yesterday, of course, it's not a responsibility of the Olympic community, but outside of the venue, there are many people who came out, many of them fans, very orderly, some rather chaotic, lots of congestion, many people from all sorts of background congregating in the very small streets. Not necessarily an ideal situation given that we are in the pandemic. Was it a surprise? Was it something that you expected? Things could have been done differently, but what would it be? Would there be any kind of assessment that will be done by the Olympic community? Of course, it's outside of the venue, but of course, those were the fans who were many of them very supportive of the movement and wanted to see what was inside. Thank you very much.
森前会長のご質問ですが、
firstly, reference to the question about the former NGOC former organizing committee chair, Mr. Mori, for those who have contributed greatly to the hosting the events, the general principle is that they will be rewarded. However, I will not be able to indicate specific decisions based on individual.
Thank you, Masa. Yeah, on the yes, I did see quite a lot of very supportive people, and that in itself is not a surprise to me. We know how much the Japanese love the Olympic Games. They're huge sports fans, and we can feel the love even if we don't have the spectators. So that is excellent. And just as an indication, the figure I gave you at the very beginning of the press conference. 69.4 million people have watched, in Japan alone, have watched some portion of the sport so far, and that's before the games even have properly begun. That's more than half the population. So you can see the huge support there is and a huge sympathy. And we have sympathy, obviously, for everyone. We would love to have spectators, but we completely understand that we must follow all the rules for safe and secure games. So as regards the more specific question about security and so on, that wouldn't be a question for us. Obviously, that would be a question for the local authorities. But actually, what I saw last night was very, very, very good-natured, very fulsome support for the Olympic Games. That's not a surprise in this country, I have to say. I think, did I say one more question? Yeah, gentlemen, yeah, if you'd come over, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hayashi from Kyoto News. And this is a question to Takaya-san. Reflecting back on yesterday, during the procession of the athletes in the opening ceremony, the sequence, of course, is by the Japanese alphabetical order. And in reference to the way in which the countries have been presented, what are the rules that have been applied? And especially for Taiwan and also Hong Kong and ROC, for these three regions, what has been the decision made and how has it been executed? And that is my question. As for the description of the names of the teams, we have received, of course, the consent of the IOC prior to the final decision as to how the names are expressed. And that is how it has been put into execution. And you particularly made mention of Chinese Taipei. And we have an answer at my fingertips right now. IOC and IBC, and Chinese Taipei has been registered as an NOC name and therefore has been presented as Chinese Taipei. In the Olympics, the Chinese Taipei T is taken to sequence the name in alphabetical order, and we have followed the protocol in the Japanese alphabet and taken the T of Taipei. And WTO and also in APEC, the similar sequence is taken, and therefore, as for what is registered in NOC, of course, I do not have all of the answers at my fingertips, but I have imparted to you what I can at this moment in time.
Thank you very much. We will be back here again, same time, same place. Sadly, without Christoph. So we will have another guest. We'll have another guest tomorrow. Just looking at who it is. If someone, no, we will let you know in the schedule. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Thank you.